who it is. That's right, it's me. And this is going to be another video for my series called Things to Know About College. And my last video I did, which was all about your moving day, has been added to my playlist, Things You Need to Know About College. And you can go check it out in that playlist. And you can also check out all my other college videos to this series in that playlist. So, this video is going to be all about roommates. Because one thing you should know about college, which you've probably figured out by now, is that you're going to be living with roommates. Now, for some people, that's not too bad for them because they've already been rooming with someone. Like, let's say their brother, let's say it's a boy, and they share a room with their brother. Then it's not too bad for them to have to share a room with someone else at college. Or let's say you room with your sister in your room. You and your sister share a room. Then it's not too bad when you go to college because you're already used to it. But it is kind of scary living with roommates in college because they're like strangers to you until you get to know them in college because they're not part of your family. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you what it was like for me to live with roommates because I just had my freshman year of college. I know what it's like living with roommates. And I had to live with 2 roommates because there was 3 people in my room. Because some people, like me and my suite mates, we had to with 3 people in our rooms because that's just the way it worked out and everything. But yes, and I'm also going to share with you guys some ways to make it so your roommate doesn't hate you and just so you can not be so scared about living with a roommate. So, without further ado, let's just jump right on into the video. So, when I was about to go to my freshman year of college, I knew I was going to have to be living with a roommate. And this person was going to be a complete stranger to me because I'm not going to know this person, obviously. But I wasn't too scared about living with a roommate because when I was little, like in elementary school, I had to share a room with my sister. So I wasn't like too upset about having to have roommates. But what happens is you have to wait until your housing department of your school sends you an email to your school email and tells you where you're going to be rooming, what building you got, and who your roommates will be. So my suggestion is for you guys to check your school email over the summer so you don't miss getting that email and you don't miss that information. So, for me, when I got that email, I was so excited, but I found out that I'd be living with 2 people, not just one person, so that kind of scared me a little. And the other thing that scared me was I did not know these people at all. They were like complete strangers to me, which obviously is the same for a lot of people, unless you're living with your friend or your sister in college, but yes, so I did not know these people at all. But I was so excited to find out who they were and find out, like just start getting to know them and everything. But the first thing actually I did was once I found out who they were, which I feel like a lot of people do this, is I went on Facebook and put in their names to try to find them. Now my one roommate I couldn't find, my other one I did, and I just sent her a friend request and I looked her up. I looked like at her picture. I'm not going to be creepy or anything, but I just looked at her profile a little just to find out who she was. So I waited a few days, maybe a week, I don't remember, before I emailed my roommates saying I wanted to talk to them and get to know them and just find out what each of us should get for our room. Now when I did email them, I did give them my cell phone number. That way they could contact me if I don't check my emails that often, which I do. But a lot of people don't check their school emails over the summer. So that's why I gave them my cell phone numbers. Then they gave me their cell phone numbers. And then we just started like texting each other. And from texting them, they seem like really nice people. So the first time I actually got to meet them and like talk to them in person was my moving day, which was a hectic day because we had to set up my room and all the parents were in the room. So there's a lot of people in my room. But after my parents left and their parents left, it was kind of awkward in our room because we're strangers to each other. We don't know each other and everything. But when dinner time did come, my suite mates wanted to go to dinner with me and my roommates just so we could get to know each other, because we would be sharing a bathroom with them and stuff. So we all went to dinner, and it was a little awkward because, as I said, we all didn't know each other and stuff. But then when we got back to our room, we just like hardly talked to each other because we didn't know each other and stuff. But when you're a freshman in college, you actually have to go to your school a few days early to do some freshman things, like freshman orientation things and stuff. So we had to go there a few days early, and we had to do activities with like a mentor and with a group and stuff and all that. So I didn't really get that much time to like talk to our roommates and get to know them. But each time we had lunch, I'd meet up with my one roommate, which, let's say her name is Catherine. So I'd meet up with Catherine, and we would go to lunch together, and I'd try to talk to her, but I don't want to be mean, but she wouldn't really talk to me because it was still pretty awkward because we didn't know each other and everything. But I tried to have conversations with her, and we tried talking to each other and getting to know each other and everything. And then we would just go back to our activities we had to do for the day. And then one thing is, we'll have like a floor meeting with your whole floor where your RA will give you a form that you have to fill out with your roommates saying what you guys are going to share in your room and what stuff you're not going to share and all that. So we had to fill that out. So that was one way for us to actually first start talking to each other and stuff. And actually my first semester of college, me and my roommates would say, one's Catherine and the other I'll say is Julia. So me, Catherine, and Julia got along well. The first semester of college, we would go to lunch and breakfast and dinner together. We would go to Walmart together because the only store I could go to buy like groceries and stuff if I wanted food in my room, or we needed like cleaning supplies or whatever else we needed, was Walmart and stuff. So we would go there together, and we'd go like I don't know, we just do things together the first semester. And so we got along really well and everything, so that was good. But the trouble started my second semester of college, which this happened like after Christmas break and after spring break, happened both those times. Was my one roommate, Julia, she would always go home on the weekends because she only lived like an hour away from the school. So she would always go home on the weekend. So me and Catherine would be up there together, and we'd have to bring tourists to each other. And so we started watching movies, scary movies on the weekend, actually with our suite mate, which I'll say her name is Abigail. So it was me, Abigail, and Catherine. We all hung out on the weekends because Julia was never there. But then for some reason, after like Christmas and spring break, Julia started not going to breakfast, lunch, or dinner with me and Catherine, and she started not going to Walmart with me and Catherine for some reason. And so we were like wondering why she wouldn't go places with us, because we would ask her, we'd be like, hey Julia, do you want to go to dinner with us? Or hey Julia, do you want to go to Walmart with us? And she would just say no to us, but she'd end up going by herself for some reason instead of going with us. Or she'd ask our suite mate, Abigail, to go with her instead of just going with me and Catherine when we asked her. So that was a little strange for us. But then, when we were in our room, it started getting awkward because she didn't want to do stuff with us. So then we come to find out that she had told, and I'm not trying to be mean, now, I gotta say this before I finish my story, I'm not trying to be mean to any of my roommates, that's why I'm not saying their name and stuff, and they don't watch these videos, but I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. But Julia had told our suite mate, Abigail, that she thought we hated her, which we did not hate her. We were nothing but nice to her, because we'd always ask her to do things with us, and when she did stay on the weekends, we'd always ask her if she wanted to watch a movie with us, but every time we asked her to do something with us, she would say no for some reason. We had no idea why. And then, all of a sudden, she started like not talking to us at all. I mean, she completely did not talk to us. She didn't even look at us. So it was real awkward in our room because she would always be in our room studying during the week, but on the weekends she would go home and stuff. But it'd be so awkward because she would not talk to us at all in the room. So me and Catherine were afraid to talk to each other in the room because it was so awkward because Julia was there. And then when we did try talking to Julia, she'd completely ignore us for some reason. We have no idea why. And then when we would see Julia on campus, she'd completely try not to look at us, like deliberately try not to look at us. And there was one instance where me and Abigail went to our cafeteria, like in the building where our cafeteria is, if you go downstairs, there's like a building where you can get food to go. And the one time me and Catherine went there, and Catherine went to go get something. I was waiting outside, and when she came out, well, before she came out, I saw Julia, and she come out, and she deliberately tried not to look at me. And I was standing right when the exit to the place was, and she deliberately tried not to look at me when she left. And then when Catherine came out, she told me she had seen Julia in there, and that it was kind of awkward for her to be in there with Julia, because Julia deliberately tried not to look at Catherine when she was in there, which I think is very strange and very rude and stuff, but yes. So then Julia, and then also what was also awkward was Julia would always call her parents during the week, which me and Catherine never understood, because she would see them every weekend. But she would call them every day during the week and tell them like, oh, I got an A in my class, I don't know why, or stuff like that. So just me and Catherine, we didn't hate the girl, we were super nice to her and everything, but she thought we hated her for some reason, and we have no idea why. And since she didn't like talk to us at all, it started getting awkward in our room, as I said. And Catherine did tell me she would get annoyed when Julia would stay on the weekend, because she'd be in there all day in our room. She would never leave. Only to go to like lunch or dinner, she would leave, but other than that, she would not leave our room. So she said she would get irritated and grumpy because Julia was in the room all day during the weekend and stuff. But now I'm going to be a sophomore in college, and I formed such a good relationship with my roommate Catherine that when it came time to choose our rooms for this semester coming up, Catherine asked me to room with her, and I said yes. Now I do feel a little guilty saying yes to Catherine, and I do feel a little bad saying yes to her, because I'm not going to room with Julia, and she was like the third wheel in our room. So me and Catherine just got along so well, we just figured we'd room together again. But I know Catherine never asked me to room with her because she didn't really like me and everything. But I don't know, me and Catherine were just super nice to Julia and everything. But I think what happened was Julia just kept going home on the weekends, so she wouldn't spend as much time with me and Catherine, so we became closer because Julia was never there. So she probably felt like the third wheel. But as I said, we always tried to include her in things we would do, but she just kept saying no. So this semester I am going to room with my former roommate, Catherine, and I'm so excited for that. And I'm not as nervous about going to school and staying up there as it was last time, because I do know my roommate this time, so that is a plus. So that is my story on my roommates, the good roommate and the bad roommate. And I wasn't trying to be mean to any of my roommates and things, so that's why I changed their names. And they don't watch these videos, but I just didn't want to say their names, but maybe by chance they do watch these videos. I don't think they do and stuff, but yeah, so I wasn't trying to be mean to any of my roommates. That was just my experience on my freshman year of living with strangers, which were my roommates, and getting to know them and becoming friends with the one and just not really liking the other. Which I never hated her, but she thought I did. Anyhow, that's just a whole mess that happened and stuff. So yes, that's my story about my experience with my roommates my freshman year. Now, here are some tips on how to deal with living with roommates, because you never know, maybe you'll become best friends with your roommate, or just become friends with your roommate, and maybe you'll end up rooming with them your whole 4 or 5 years of college, or maybe you'll end up hating your roommate and want to change roommates your second semester, or maybe you'll just end up tolerating your roommate and you just live in the same room together. But here are some tips on how you can deal with a roommate and just not hate going to school after every break and just look forward to school. So, my first tip on dealing with roommates is when you find out who your roommate is, or roommates, because I had two, just email them, give them your phone number, and just get to know them before you get to school. That way, it's not as awkward when you get to school and you're not like complete strangers, you know some about them. So you're not super scared when you're going to move into your room and your parents leave and you have to stay up there with them. Now, my second tip of dealing with roommates is when you go to breakfast, lunch, or dinner, try for the first couple weeks, maybe that first weekend you're up there, try to go to dinner with or lunch or breakfast with your roommates. That way you guys can get to know each other better and just figure out, just get to know each other better so it's not as awkward when you're in your room. Now, my third tip, and this is an important tip for me, for me this is a good idea, and maybe it'll be a good idea for you guys. But my third tip is once you've got to know your roommates a little better and you have your schedule for school and you know when your classes are, find out from your other roommates when they have their classes, because maybe they'll have class at the same time you do and in the same building, and so maybe you can walk with them to class, or maybe they'll have the same classes at the same time, and so you can walk to class together, sit next to each other in class. So that is something you can do. Just ask your roommate, hey, do you want to look at each other's schedules and find out when we're going to be in the room, when we have lunch, when we can have lunch and dinner together and stuff. So that is a plus to find, and that is a big thing to find out what your roommate's schedule is, so you can go to lunch with them if you have lunch at the same time, or go to dinner with them, which you probably will be able to go to dinner with them, unless you have a night class. Or if you guys come off to class together, just find out what their schedule is. So, my fourth tip is, and this goes along with my one roommate, Julia, which is if you do live close to the school, do not go home every weekend. Because the problem with that is if you won't get to know your roommate that well, and if you have two roommates, then your two roommates will get along better than you will with them, because you always go home, so you won't get to hang out with them that much. So when you come back to school, it'll be like your first day, the move-in day, because you're always not there at the school. So if you do live close to school, try not to go home every weekend, because you may not get to know your roommates and it may become awkward in your room, because they might think, oh, well, since she goes home every weekend, why bother trying to get to know her and become her friend or something. So that is a big tip for if you. So my fourth tip is don't mess with your roommate's stuff. And by that I mean if they're in class or if they're doing stuff and they're not in their room, don't mess with their things, because you won't want them messing with your things, so why are you going to mess with their things? Like if your roommate's not in the room, don't go over to their bed and take stuff out from under their bed, or take stuff out from under their bed, or don't take their money when they're not in the room, because you wouldn't want them doing that to you. So my fourth tip is do not mess with your roommate's things. That'll just make them end up hating you and end up wanting to change roommates and telling their Aunt Annie that you mess with their things. So do not do that. So my fifth and final tip is to not stress so much about who your roommates are going to be and if you're going to end up liking them or not. Because there are going to be some times where you do not get along with your roommate, or you just tolerate them. And there will be other times where you become friends with your roommate and you get along super well. But do not stress so much that, oh, I'm going to get a really good roommate, and be so excited. Or don't automatically think you're going to get a bad roommate. You always got to wait till you meet them in person and start living with them. and you gotta wait a while, because you can't just when you automatically get to the school on Ribbon Day say, oh, I'm not gonna like living with this person and everything. Don't think that. So that was 5 tips on how to live with roommates, and that was my story on my first experience for my freshman year of college on me when I lived with roommates. So, first I shall say, yes, since you guys see my phone, all my videos, yes, Yes, I did get a new phone, yes, as you can see, and I am thinking of doing a what's on my phone video for you guys, but I'm going to wait a while because I want to finish all the videos in this series first and then do some more videos before I go back to school. But yes, I did get a new phone, so you'll be seeing this new phone in on all my videos. So, my dance video for you guys is, let me get it for you guys. And I chose this video because there is a huge problem in school, and that is bullying, and it's not a great thing. And if you know someone that's bullied, or you're bullied, tell someone, tell an adult what you know, but just tell them. Even if the bully says they're hurting you for telling, just tell them anyway, because they'll get the situation taken care of. And if that adult doesn't get the situation taken care of, then just tell someone else. And don't bully anyone. That's a terrible thing to do. So this video is called Bully, and it's by Dance Force Extreme. And again, the reason why I chose this video is because a huge problem in school is bullying. So never bully someone. And never bully someone. And always tell an adult that you're being bullied, or that someone is bullying someone you know. Check out that dance video, and I'll put the link to it in my description box down below, right down below for you guys. So my quote for this video is, it always seems impossible until it is done. And I think that is a perfect quote for school that everybody can relate to, because you always have tests in school and quizzes and just classwork they have to get done, and it always seems like a lot of work and very hard to get done. But if you just work hard at it, then you'll get it done, because nothing is impossible. If you just set your mind to it, then you can do anything you put your mind to. So, I hope you like this video, and check out my other videos to my college series, Things You Need to Know About College. So I hope you like this video by giving it a big thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed to my channel.